All right, time now to bring in Vince Mercogliano, who covers the Rangers for LowHUD.com and USA Today. All right, so Vince, Hurricanes' top penalty kill percentage team in the league really during the regular season. Rangers have been stifled on the power play, obviously. So what is Carolina doing specifically to prevent the Rangers' success there?
Well, Chris, they're smothering them. And if you look at the way that this game went tonight, first period or so, it was really pretty slow-paced, methodical. Neither team had a lot of chances. The Rangers have done a pretty good job defensively in this series so far. But once they get to that power play, which had been such a weapon for them throughout the season, I think it was deflating for them that they had 4 of them tonight and they weren't able to convert on any of them. And then ultimately Brendan Smith gets the shorthanded goal, which is really a backbreaker for the Rangers. So the PK, as good as Carolina is on that, it really fueled Carolina and gave them a lot of momentum in this game. And that's where things turned for the Rangers.
Absolutely. And also to that point, the Rangers' top guns were quiet again. Artemi Panarin talked about being more aggressive. Do you think it's the Canes defense that is the reason for the 2-0 deficit right now?
That's part of it, and that's certainly what the Rangers are saying. I mean, they're spinning this pretty positive. If you listen to the players or Gerard Gallant after the game, they're saying, look, we like the way we played. We hung tough. It was a defensive battle, and they gave Carolina a lot of credit because they are so good defensively and on the forecheck. But the fact of the matter is, if the Rangers are going to extend this series and have a chance to come back and win it, they need these top guys to step up. Artemi Panarin spoke to us earlier today, and he said some words that I can't say on air, but he basically was expressing a little bit that he's trying not to take that many risks because he's worried that if he takes risks, it can turn into turnovers that will then fuel Carolina on rush opportunities and that sort of thing. So Panarin was trying to maybe get out of that a little bit tonight and start opening things up a little bit more, starting to try to create a little more plays for the Rangers. Didn't do a great job of that. He didn't have a single shot on goal in this game, nor did Chris Kreider, who also had a really tough night, took 2 pretty bad penalties. One of them was a slashing play that looked like it came out of frustration on his part. So if the Rangers are going to find a way to get back into this series, there's not going to be excuses for these guys. They have to find a way to score.
Right, they have to find a way to score, and I think it would help if they played a little bit looser. And so if you were the head coach, Vince, would you shuffle up the lines a bit? I mean, we saw Gallant do that in the third period.
Chris, that's a good question. That's actually what I'm planning to write about tomorrow because I think they need to shake something up. The kid line, we've talked about them, Lafreniere, Kakko, and Hedl, and how good they've been. I think those guys need to get more minutes, whether it's moving those guys up and keeping them together and just feeding them more minutes as a unit, or maybe separating them and putting Lafreniere, we saw in the top 6 for a little while tonight, or putting Kakko in the top 6, just to shake things up because the lines that the Rangers have for their top 2 units right now, the one with Zibanejad in the middle and then the one with Panarin and Strome, they've just not been getting the job done. So I do believe that something needs to change for the Rangers to get back into the series and start creating more offense. What the right combinations are or what the right answers are, I don't know if I have those, but I do think that I would like to see Gerard Gallant try something different.
Yeah, that's the key to the playoffs. You have to make adjustments. The coaches that make the better adjustments usually end up winning. So the Rangers, as you know, were down 2 games to the Penguins. Does this feel a little different, though, with Carolina?
Yes, definitely. Pittsburgh was a team that we talked about. The Rangers had the advantage in that series. They were playing a 3rd-string goalie. They had beaten them 3 out of 4 times in the regular season. The Rangers were the better team on paper for that series. This is a whole different animal. Carolina has dominated them the last few years. Carolina won the division. Carolina is, in a lot of people's minds, one of the top 3 or 4 teams that could win a Stanley Cup this season. So the Rangers are up against a different animal. And the main thing is what we've talked about a few times now. Carolina smothers you. They do not give you a lot of room to work with, and they do not allow much in terms of offense for their opponents. So the Rangers just feel like they're kind of in quicksand right now against this team. And listen, the positive, again, that you have to say is the Rangers in a lot of these games in the regular season against Carolina were giving up 40, 50 shots in a game. Tonight, they held them to 22. So they'll take that every game if they can do it. But the problem is you're giving up that few shots and that few opportunities to Carolina, and yet you're still losing the game because you can't score. So it's demoralizing in some ways.
It absolutely is. And very quickly, Vince, Rangers return home. So how big will that be for their confidence?
Well, it's not technically a must win because it's not going to be an elimination game on Sunday afternoon for game 3, but it's a must win. The Rangers, to feel good about themselves and get their confidence back, I believe, need to win on Sunday. If they do that, then they kind of refresh and they have a chance in game 4, and we know they're probably going to play better and with a little more energy at home. So game 3 is as big as it gets. Their season in many ways is on the line because we saw them come back 3-1 against Pittsburgh, but coming back 3-0 against Carolina, I just don't see that happening. So they have to win on Sunday.
It's a whole different beast for sure. Vince Mercogliano, thanks so much for the time, man.